there is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop a limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we sit here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has expired.
May I respond?
Yeah, I don't know how you respond. No one can.
I did not ask a question, Ms.
He doesn't
You're allowed
want to talk
to.
about
I did
the
not ask a
horrific
question.
crime in California. He does not want to talk about
I did not ask a
crime
question.
in his
She
state.
can't just add lib stuff. I did not ask a question.
Meeting will be in order. The gentleman has yielded back his time. I think.
Okay.
Something very interesting happened in this Senate hearing, and if you're watching closely, it wasn't just another political shouting match. Senator Tammy Baldwin looked Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth straight in the eye and asked a question that sounds incredibly simple. What specific legal authority is the administration using to deploy active-duty Marines into California? And Hegseth's answer immediately became the center of attention. He talked about constitutional authority, he talked about legal review, he talked about precedent, but when Baldwin demanded the specific provision, he admitted he would have to look it up and provide it later. Now, before we get into this explosive exchange, if you appreciate independent political commentary from a conservative perspective, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the Blue Brief, and turn on notifications. It helps this channel continue bringing you these important congressional moments that the mainstream media often glosses over. Let's get into it.
A former Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. Under the law Congress passed, you were allowed to redact photos to protect the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. You redacted the photos of this victim's face because you were following the congressional law. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, that we redacted the victim's
Because you were
face?
following the congressional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have now established that please put the photos back up, that we are looking at a sex trafficking victim. Under the Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act, not only is Jeffrey Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronizes Epstein's sex operation is also guilty of a crime. That's why I find it absolutely despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." These two photos, please put the photos back up. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General PAM BONDI, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
The first thing that jumps out at me is that Baldwin wasn't asking Hegseth whether the president has some general authority to act. She wanted the specific authority being relied upon for this particular deployment, and that distinction matters. Hegseth's initial response was essentially that the president has constitutional authority to use federal troops in support of federal law enforcement, and that the Pentagon's general counsel had reviewed the situation, but Baldwin wasn't satisfied. She brought up Section 12406 of Title 10, which the president had cited regarding National Guard forces, and then made the distinction between those Guard forces and active duty Marines. That's a legitimate oversight question, and frankly, conservatives should understand why. For years, conservatives have argued that government power should have clear boundaries. We believe in law and order. We believe in national security. We believe the commander-in-chief needs the ability to respond when federal personnel or federal property are threatened. But that doesn't mean Congress should stop asking questions. The Constitution isn't supposed to be a blank check. If the federal government is putting active-duty military personnel into an American city, members of Congress have every right to ask what authority is being used, what mission those troops have, what restrictions apply, and how long the deployment is expected to last. That's not anti-military. That's constitutional oversight. And here's where I think Hegseth could have handled the exchange better.
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before
I agree with you.
You twice.
I've been claiming my time.
Never
I agree with
mentioned
you. I agree with you. During the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures. But you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them. So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to move on to another
Can I
question.
answer your question about protecting
You
Prince
answered the
Andrew?
question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files, like former Prince. Here's the video. Like former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm claim my time.
be released.
I got your answer. You said there's no evidence.
President Trump asked
Mr. Chairman, please stop the clock.
Stop
the clock.
The legislation. This is
Time.
this
I'd like
is
to
ridiculous.
my time.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath.
Instead of moving toward a precise answer, he leaned heavily on historical precedent. He essentially argued that there is precedent for active-duty troops supporting law enforcement, but Baldwin immediately pushed back. Her point was straightforward. She's not asking whether something has happened before. She's asking what authority is being relied upon now. And from a political communication standpoint, that's a dangerous place for a cabinet secretary to be, because when a senator asks for the specific legal basis for an action already taken, the strongest possible answer is to give the citation. If you have the authority, cite it. If the lawyers have reviewed it, explain exactly what they concluded. If there is a specific order containing the authority, identify it. Don't leave your opponent with the soundbite that you couldn't provide the answer. That's exactly what happened here. But this hearing wasn't only about Marines in Los Angeles. Baldwin then shifted to the Pentagon budget, and this is where the conversation became much broader. She pointed out that the budget materials did not contain the level of detail she expected concerning ship procurement, including the Constellation-class frigate and destroyer programs. And remember, Baldwin represents Wisconsin, a state deeply connected to defense manufacturing and shipbuilding. So she wasn't just making a political point, she was telling the Defense Department that Congress needs the information necessary to perform its constitutional role in the appropriations process. Hegseth responded that the shipbuilding industry and the broader defense industrial base remain priorities, but he also acknowledged serious problems with the frigate program. According to Hegseth, modifications to the original design had become so extensive that the resulting ship was no longer capable of performing its original mission in the intended way. Now that's a massive defense acquisition problem. Think about what that means. America needs ships. America needs a powerful navy. China is rapidly expanding its naval capabilities. The United States cannot afford endless cost overruns, delays, and design changes that produce platforms that don't perform the mission they were originally supposed to. And this is where I actually agree with the basic principle behind Hegseth's argument. Sometimes the Pentagon has to make tough choices. If a weapons program is badly designed, excessively delayed, or no longer provides the capability the military actually needs, simply throwing more money at it isn't automatically responsible defense spending. But here's the catch.